Welcome in, everyone, to the State 48 podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Matthews, bringing you all things AZ. And today on the show, we have a Valley football legend, DJ Foster.
So kind.
Stop acting all shy over here.
So kind.
Former high school stud here in the Valley at Saguaro High School, went off to ASU, had a great career there, played for the Patriots, won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and then ended up with the Arizona Cardinals. And then full circle back at ASU.
Goes by so fast. It's crazy. Like when I hear it from your perspective, like when someone else explains it to me, like I start reminiscing.
Yeah.
It's like I forget and same with you, your career. It's like when you live it, you're just living in the moment.
Well, we're gonna be doing a lot of reminiscing. I almost like lost my breath with that intro because it's just so full and packed. But what I love is we've known each other for a long time. I'm gonna age myself here. I covered when your signing day at ASU.
Yeah.
You were, I don't remember where it was, like some hotel, if you recall. Or was it?
When I was committing from high school to ASU?
Yes. So 2012, I was covering for Cronkite Sports and Rivals. So I covered you coming out.
It was at Saguaro.
It was at Saguaro.
It was at Saguaro in the press room conference.
Yes, I remember
I had
that
John
day.
Sanders, my head coach, sitting right next to me.
Yeah, and it was such a big deal, like huge that you were staying in state. But
well, because it was, remember, Erickson just got fired, and I was Todd Graham in his first class. He was only there for 3 months, so he really didn't get the full recruitment process with me. Yeah. So, but in my mind, like, it was ASU. I'm going into
all
depth.
The way.
But
we're already getting in this.
Yeah. Everybody in the Pac-12 was getting fired that year.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Wow. 2012. That seems like yesterday.
I know. It's weird telling these guys now that I'm working at ASU. I'm like, yeah, I was here over 10 years ago.
Do you feel old?
Absolutely.
Does it hit you like every day?
Absolutely.
Like
a player will come on like, you played here? I'm like, yeah, it was a long time ago.
Or when you're like going through their paperwork and you see the 2000s pop up, that just aches me. I'm like, what?
Yeah, 2004. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Like, who are you?
What are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm older than you, so it really hurts. Before we get started, because they're gonna be so good. So many things that we're gonna get into, but I like to play a quick game.
Let's do it.
And this one, because you're from Arizona, born and raised, all the things, I like to put them on the spot here with some.
Fun fact, wasn't born.
That's right.
Moved here when I was 6. All my family's from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later.
But you are like all
I know.
AZ,
I know. I rep AZ to the fullest.
You should know these answers is the point here. It's the trivia. Right. Okay, a little trivia. You're like, listen up. Ready, go.
Warm the mind up.
First question. You look so nervous.
I really am.
If you're watching,
because I'm very competitive. I'm very competitive.
Okay. Which AZ national park has a north and a south rim with a big hole in between?
Grand Canyon.
Boom. Off the bat. Nailed it. I mean, the big hole.
The big hole really helped because I was lost to the first part. Absolutely lost.
I saw your eyes. Okay, you should know this one. What 3 cities or states technically have the Cardinals resided in? Arizona Cardinals.
Wait. What 3 cities?
It's a tricky one.
Okay.
So they originated where? The Cardinals. Do you know that? Oh, he's nervous.
They originated. I do know this. You're not talking about.
I'm talking about that.
You're talking about that.
You're talking.
You're not talking about like St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's one.
But they didn't originate there. But yeah, that's one.
Okay. I don't know.
Arizona, obviously.
Yeah, there's the third one. St. Louis, Arizona.
Where did they start? You got this. Great pizza. Thick crust.
Chicago.
There you go.
Great assist.
Nailed
Great assist
it.
on that one.
All right. What year did the D-backs win the World Series?
2002. 3.
A little earlier.
2001?
Yes.
Oh, and that's crazy.
You were like, what, in second grade?
Well, second grade, but it was 9/11. It was after 9/11. I've never seen my mom cry. She doesn't even watch baseball. But like that image is like implanted in my brain. Yeah. My mom was crying. Obviously, it was emotional. Yankees, Diamondbacks, World Series. I hate that I got that wrong.
Okay.
I know everything about it.
I respect you still. You're like, I remember the moment.
Because that was a huge moment for
cry?
us. I was 2 years old crying.
Yeah.
Because my mom was crying. I know why she was crying.
Mom,
I was like, why are you crying? But yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And the Derek Jeter doc that they just put out recently, they kind of, you got to watch it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But they touched on that kind of era, and it brought back all the feels.
Yeah. As like a sports fan watching it, you're like, obviously not Arizonans, but you're kind of pulling for the state of New York, right? Like the whole nation is like our heartstrings are tied to.
I was 2 years old.
But I was petty at that age too.
Yeah, like, I don't give a damn. Go Diamondbacks. I remember Tony Gonzalez hit that gapper. No, Luis Gonzalez.
Yes, close.
Yeah, one of the two.
One of them. Tony.
Yeah, Tony was somewhere.
Different sport, different time, but he was there.
Tony was around.
Luis was actually on our podcast, so same chair.
Very nice.
Legendary chair that you're sitting in.
Love that.
Okay, next question. What is the state flower of Arizona? You should get this.
Saguaro.
Yeah. High school. Duh.
I love that. You're setting me up.
I know. I can't be mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're setting me up.
This is a good one. Suns fan over there, rocking that shirt. If you're watching,
State 48.
Buy it, love it, wear it.
It's fresh off the press.
How's it feel? By the way,
it feels good. Great material. I'm gonna guess 60% polyester, 40% cotton. If I had to guess, I don't know, but
nice
it feels right.
Stretch.
Oh, it feels right. Great movement. Great breathability.
Size up or size down?
Size up. Yeah. Like I said, that's retired life. We weren't planning for the extra large.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What years did the Suns play or make it into the NBA Finals?
Was it 93?
It was.
I was born in 93.
You were.
Charles Barkley. Is there another one?
Before that.
Before that, 86?
No, close.
87.
Decade before.
77.
76.
76. Who was on that team?
I want to say that was against the Celtics. If I'm a good
70s.
Look it up, Nico. While we're pondering the third, you should know this.
It wasn't like Chambers year. That was still like 80s.
No, that was,
I don't know who's on the 70s.
I mean, that was obviously like who I just saw him yesterday.
Eddie Johnson?
No. They would kill us. They're like, I ain't that old.
Yeah.
Eddie Johnson was a little later after that. I think it was like 80s, the Mark West and Kemp era.
Okay. That makes sense.
But Al McCoy like threw it all.
Wow.
He's seen it all.
Those were the two finals appearances.
And then another, obviously, the latest.
The latest, yeah.
And greatest in 2021.
Yeah. And hopefully another one
in
23.
There we go. Okay. This one should be easy.
You've been saying that a lot. You've been saying that for all of them. And I'm sitting here flustered.
You're just sweating through that shirt. Finish the blank. AZ is the blank state. It's numerically.
Oh, like 40, 48.
There you go.
State 48, of course.
They're
so simple that you're making me overthink.
Yes, it was.
Those are all great questions. I see what you did there.
Simple but hard.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to say.
Can we have the blinker so it just like shines on you? Like,
you're like, look everywhere in the building. The answer is everywhere.
Look down. There you go. A little brighter for you.
Oh, that's nice.
That's gonna wake you up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I need that. Can you buy that in the retail store? No, that's exclusive stuff.
We need to make that because I know a lot of people.
Somebody would want that in their room.
Yeah, why not? When you're just all in.
Blinged up.
So like we started this podcast saying, been covering you for a long time. Such a journey, and here we are, both retired, living our lives.
Yeah. It's crazy. ASU. Where'd you go to high school? Don't tell me.
Oh, it's trivia continues.
It's high school here, of course. Corona.
Disrespect. No, but close.
Awatuki somewhere. Yes. Desert Vista.
Yes.
That's two. Give me some.
There's only 2 schools in Awatuki.
I know, but that's 2 guesses. Yeah, there's a lot of places I could have guessed. Desert Vista.
Yeah. High school products here.
Were you
y'all, I love this because you have a little broadcast career going on. Now he switched it and he's interviewing me.
I retired. It was 4 months lived and I retired.
That should be the title of the show. Retired.
That's funny.
So what were you gonna ask me? I'm
Jerome Robinson.
Oh my God. Yeah, G-Rob. Quarterback.
Yeah.
Then turned tight end.
I know. He went on a journey.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I used to actually go to Desert Vista games. Mikey Barker. I don't know if you remember that name.
Barker?
Do you know who Mikey Barker is?
Oh my God.
That's a family friend of mine. So I grew up going to DV games because his dad knows my dad, and they played baseball for years. And I used to go to see Mikey Barker play receiver.
Yeah, he married one of my really good friends.
Crazy.
Father of 2, great family man.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah,
you're forgetting the legend at Desert Vista.
DK?
Well, yeah, besides the bestie.
Who's
my husband.
Oh, yeah.
I have to give some love.
I'm sorry.
Luke Matthews.
I'm sorry.
Number 1.
And he's what, Tempe Fire?
He is Tempe Fire.
That's awesome.
Yeah, doing good. Okay, so back to you, though.
Yeah.
That was a fun little interlude.
Got back in.
Yeah, you're retired in all the ways, but you've done so much in this journey. Let's go back to the beginnings, which I love because I got to witness a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Playing in high school, coming out, obviously top recruit. Was that something for you, you know, growing up, being raised, knowing that, okay, football is the destination, is the journey that I want to be on?
Yes and no. I mean, I think now with social media, like there's such a big focus on that. But like for me, I was playing football. My friends were doing it and it was fun. I played basketball. I played every sport I could.
Yeah.
I would say maybe my junior year became more realistic of like, wow, I can actually have a chance to go to college and get a scholarship. And I think that's when it kind of set in for me where like, this is something I can make a career doing.
Yeah.
Even when I was playing at ASU though, like I never, and some people think that's wrong, like set goals. I had goals, but I never really like, I always trusted that what will be meant for me will happen, you know? So like, I just kind of played. If I do my best, if I control my energy, have effort and play the game that I love the way I know I can, it will all work out.
Yeah.
So whether that was the NFL or not,
yeah. You just go with
I just was going with it.
I always feel though, like you have always been almost like an old soul, like 10 years ahead of time. Even when you're in high school, conducting your interviews.
My dad said the same thing.
Yeah. It's just like, what about, it's just the way you were raised or?
I don't know. I think I had to grow up a little fast. Everyone has their own testimony and story, but I just think just having to grow up fast and kind of living life, having life experiences and stuff. I just think I just looked at life in a different perspective than most kids. And I still do now. I tell people now, I tell the kids that I work with, they're young men, that even though I'm 29 and they're 22, I feel like I'm like 60 just because of the life. Like in NFL, a lot of guys that played in the league know this, like you have to grow up very fast. It's a very strange profession.
Yeah.
A lot of people see the millions of dollars being made and all this other stuff, but you live fast. I mean, the anxiety of feeling like you're going to get fired every day. A lot of people in most corporate America, they don't feel that. They're trying to raise up a corporate ladder, but they don't feel like the feeling of like, I could get fired today. Like, so going into a job every day to feel that, it just makes you kind of grow up a little bit.
Let's get into some of those like life experiences. I think that has really shaped you. Obviously, covering you, knowing the tragedy with Jennifer, your sister, and how that has honestly shaped you to be the person of resilience, of overcoming.
Sure.
And I'm sure still things you're working through. I mean, it's a lifelong journey to go through, but that was such a pivital point of your life.
Absolutely. I think talking about it and also just keeping her name alive, and like it helps me too when I get to have to share my story with some of these young men I get to work with every day. I mean, they're going through a lot of the similar stuff that I went through. But absolutely, I mean, I was a sophomore. I was telling the story the other day to somebody, and it was sometimes it's been a while since I told it, and it kind of just hit me all again. But like, it was my first year on varsity. You know, I was 15, and she passed away about 5 days before our first varsity football game. So I sat out that scrimmage, and then the following week, you know, we played, and obviously there's more to it, but opening kickoff, I was the kick returner. And like I said, it was maybe 5 days after, you know, she passed, and my family, my mom, everyone was in the stands. And they kicked me the ball, and when I say it could have parted like the Red Sea, it was incredible. Like everyone could have just stopped and just watched. I ran straight and took the opening kickoff like 100 yards, my first game on varsity. And it was just it was the most surreal feeling. Like I felt like I had wings on me and I was just flying. Like I went dead straight, not one juke. My first play on varsity, my family in the stands, and like it was my sister, it was God working.
Wow.
And it was an incredible moment for my family to share that with.
Wow.
And also, you know, fast forward to like, that's part of the reason why I chose ASU, you know, to continue to build those memories with my family.
Wow. I've read that story over and over before, obviously. And to hear it from like out of your words is so impactful, like full body chills. Anyone that's listening right now, that's a surreal moment. But it's like a God moment in a sense. Like how else can you explain your first game back, going to the house?
First game on varsity, absolutely. Opening kickoff, first play of that year. It was surreal. It really was. And I was telling someone the other day, and I was like, it's crazy how fast that stuff like that goes. Like it feels like feels like it was such a long time ago, but it also feels like it was yesterday, you know, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're so young.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why growing up fast, you know, having to deal with that, having to be there for my parents, having to be there for my mother, you know, it was me, my mom, my sister in one household, you know, when she passed, it was just me and my mom, you know, so having to be there as the man of the house, you know, to comfort her and also be a 15-year-old trying to balance, you know, school, trying to be a football player, a student athlete, we'll just say that, but yet be there for her. But she is, and I tell her this all the time, and that's the reason why I stayed and played at ASU, a big part, she was just the strongest human being I've ever met in my life.
You're gonna make me cry.
I'm about to cry.
My mom
it's been
was
a crazy,
hard over
I know.
Here. I can't.
It's been a crazy couple of days. So it's crazy. It's funny that you brought that up. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I was actually getting lunch with a friend, and I was getting lunch in the hospital. My sister passed away, was behind us. And I shared the story with him. And I guess it was just a long time since I've talked about it. Yeah. And it was crazy. And it kind of brought back all the feelings for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm just like visualizing you, knowing you too.
Yeah.
But at that age and having to unpack so much that you can't even fully grasp at that age, right?
For
You're
sure.
just kind of like, you have to keep moving and keep going.
Absolutely.
And in the midst of that, you unknowingly, you know, just push a lot under, and you just keep going to school, play football, you know, be the man of the house, and you almost, in a sense, train yourself to be robotic in those emotions.
Absolutely.
How do you unpack that now as like you've grown, you've experienced so much more now? Just I'm curious on that.
I think it's a continuous process. And like I said, because of just trying to worry about so many other people, I think I neglected my own healing process. And I think even throughout my time at ASU and just even as just growing as an adult, I think I've had to come back and kind of have moments to myself to just be like, hey, you know, time to reflect on. I think talking to my mom, like I'm super close with my mom. I talk to her every day. So talking to her, but I think just, you know, being honest with myself, you know, I think just having those real conversations with myself, that was something that I always try to do at such a young age. And I think that's helped me mature kind of fast and kind of keep pushing forward. I think a lot of people avoid those hard conversations with themselves. And I tell guys that I work with, I'm like, especially with this transfer portal, which we'll talk about later, but like you have to be real with yourself now more than ever as a college student, because you want to go and say, you may think you're this type of player, but if someone else doesn't see you as that. So you have to be honest with yourself. And I know a lot of people in business and in life where if you got to be honest with yourself, because if you're not, no one else will. And you may get a false sense of reality, or you go to something and you interview for something and they're like, oh, I didn't think that of me, you know? So it's like keeping those honest conversations with myself, I think, you know, when I'm outstepping myself and kind of being out of pocket, when I need to hone back in and get focused. And those happen all the time. Yeah.
It's truly crazy how, you know, the journey shapes you for every moment that you've kind of like been thrown into. Then, you know, you go from high school, top recruit, you know, ASU, gosh, so many great.
Just that ASU journey was crazy.
And gosh, this podcast goes in so many directions, but you know, then boom, NFL. And like you talked about having that mentality of coming in, bubble guy, like, am I going to have my job today? Is my locker going to be like, do I have to be ready to pack up real quick? But, you know, you found a place with the Patriots and an experience. I want to know about, you know, kind of like off the grid of depth here, but like, tell me about Bill Belichick. Like, that is so cool.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
I'd be deathly afraid to actually interview him. And I don't get really afraid to like interview anyone, but it'd be fun at the same time. Like I'd be like on a challenge. Edge.
Yeah. No, he's actually hilarious. He has this, and he does, and you see everybody in the New England organization, they kind of adapted that.
Oh.
You know, it's just, it happens. I became that, like.
It's like so duplicatable. It's crazy. Like, because anyone that came into the Cardinals organization and we knew like, oh, you're a Patriot. Yeah. It's just like in your blood.
Oh, I was the same way when I got picked up from, you know, New England to the Cardinals.
Chandler Jones. I was like, boy.
It takes a while to kind of like get out of that shell. It was crazy. I mean, so when I went from ASU, I went undrafted. not many people know you have about 30 to 45 minutes to make a decision as an undrafted free agent. So the Texans called Arizona and New England. So I talked to Bruce Arians, and you talked to all the head coaches, and I talked to Bill Belichick. And at the time I was playing receiver. I went to the combine as a receiver, but I played running back my whole career. So I was in this weird stage of like, I don't know what position I play. I don't know what position the NFL sees me. Obviously it's important schematically. But I talked to Bill, and I was on the phone with him about 35 minutes after the last pick of the draft happened. I said, you know what? If anybody can figure out what position I can play, it's him.
Wow.
And I wanted to go as far away as I can from home. I've high school, college. And I said, you know what? I need to go grow as a man. I need to get as far away as I can. And this is my way to do it. And it's just crazy how it all worked out. Yeah. And I was on a plane in about a week to go to New England.
Literally the opposite of Arizona.
Opposite. I was like, yeah, I was terrified. I was excited. Just so many things. And that journey, I would say those are two of the best years of my life. I think I learned football from scratch. I learned how to be a professional, and I learned just who I was as a man too. I think I learned a lot of valuable lessons with that.
Taking you out of your comfort zone, out of your place. And that's a smart move.
Yeah.
Because it prepared you for
because I could have probably just went to the Cardinals at the time, even though it all ended up working out and I ended up coming back. Yeah. But I could have made the safe choice, but I was like, I just need to go. There's something in my heart that was telling me that I was like, just take this leap of faith and just go far.
Tell me your best Belichick story.
I remember, so we're speaking of interviews and having this Belichick way. I remember as a rookie, an interviewer asked me something about somebody else.
Oh gosh.
Somebody else that was none of my concern. And I was like, yeah, I think he was doing this or that. And I come back to the team meeting, and we call them, so all team meetings start off with, the janitor's in there, the kitchen staff, everybody's in this team meeting. I mean, he'll usually play low lights, but I see him have this paper in his hand, and he goes, yeah, we had one of our rookies had an interview the other day and doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut. And so he reads a transcript of my interview that I did in front of the whole team.
No.
And he looks at me and goes, shut your mouth. Speak for yourself. And I said, oh, that was the first one. I was like, okay, this is what it is. You know, it was just very different. It's very, it's very structured. It's very ordered, militant. But I also came from Coach Graham, which was very similar.
Very similar.
So it was the best place for me to kind of transition. I loved the structure. I really did. It was hard, but it was all I knew. So I got to see like vets come in, like a vet would sign a 1-year deal, and you see them, they're like, this is BS. I hate this.
Oh yeah, they don't want to be.
Oh yeah, they hate it. They can't stand it. But you also are winning. So you shut up real quick when you're winning and getting those playoff bonuses and all these other things, you know, and getting an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. But yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I really did.
What was that Super Bowl year like?
Oh, it was incredible. It was incredible to be a part of that, to be able to learn from some of those guys, the Julian Edelmans, the Tom Bradys, just to be around so many guys that have seen so much and have been a part of success. Like it's so contagious. Like I've heard coaches say that, like winning's contagious, but like I felt it. Like people come in and if you don't adapt, you look out of place. And human nature, none of us want to look out of place. So that's why the system was so incredible. Like they were able to take a vet and he either adapted or he left.
True.
And most of the vets adapted because they want to win. They all want to win. You're competitive. So whether they put up with it for a year, they would. Yeah. And we won. So it was just it was so cool to see that structure and system. And like, it's just like plug and play. Like,
you're right, because anyone that came in for interviews and I would like, you know, conduct an interview with them, and they're from the Patriots, and they were always like really nervous. Yeah. And I felt like they had like a wall up, and I'm like, bro, it's okay, listen up a little bit. Like, you're just like, is that okay? Did I say that okay? Can I say that again? I'm like, you're fine here.
It's so not scripted, but it's so like, exactly, you have
you're
like
in your head
you
more.
have what not to say, and you think about that so much that sometimes your personality forgets to go. And
look at you, you've morphed it all together.
Oh yeah, I always had it in me, but I think it was the full picture, and coming to Arizona definitely changed everything.
Oh yeah, we'll get into. Tell me about Tom Brady's eating habits.
Yeah, he would like have his own meals off to the side. He would eat with us occasionally, but like he was always very like secretive about what he ate.
Secretive, like,
but like I never saw him really eat with us most of the time. That's or weird. Like if he did eat with us, you could tell it was very detailed what was on his plate.
He's weird.
Yeah, love you. I loved him though. He's awesome.
I respect him.
Yeah, he's my guy.
He's your guy.
He's my guy because my locker was right next to his.
No way.
And this man was almost double my age. And like, I would just see how he would interact with people that he was almost 20 something years older than. And it was just the most incredible thing. Like, you saw why he was so great because he was able to really mesh that locker room. Like, whether you were a day 3 rookie, he never made you feel that way. You know, so like the leader, this is Tom Brady, who we all idolized growing up.
Right.
To be able to sit there and rap lyrics of like the newest rap song, he knew what he was doing. Yeah. And like he knew how to like make people feel at home.
Wow.
And it was just really cool to see.
Next to him.
Yeah.
Who else have you shared locker rooms next to? Neighbors.
I was at Arizona, was always the running backs.
Right.
Like David, Kerwin, Elijah. A lot of people in that room. Chris Johnson. It's another thing. I got to play. Kerwin. Kerwitch. That's my guy. That's my guy.
Do you still talk to a lot of them?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Kerwin's in Vegas, doing real estate, and he has his own like shop. Like it's like Healthy Greens.
Okay.
I would love to shout him out, but I don't know the name of it. But
shout out Kerwin.
Yeah.
Kerwin.
But I think Elijah is coaching football back in LA. I think he's retired. I talk to David Johnson every once in a while.
Such a good guy.
Yeah. His family's beautiful.
I know.
Love seeing it.
Yes. We need to have like a little reunion.
We should of that. Yeah, we should. It was a good group of guys. I've been very lucky to have a good, solid running back group. Really everywhere I played.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm like, this is giving me flashbacks.
I know.
Because you came in 2017. Yeah. So you got BA, you got Wilkes, and Cliff.
Yep.
All 3.
3 new offenses.
Yeah.
3 new playbooks. 3 new languages.
Seriously.
Back to back.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, just landing here back in Arizona. How did that all transpire?
Oh, it was crazy. I was in a meeting. I think we were getting ready to play New Orleans.
Is it New Orleans or New Orleans?
That's a tough one. What do you say?
Saints.
You just say Saints. You don't even touch it. You're like, just the Saints.
They're like, literally, there'd be reads or things
for
the Cardinals that and I'm like, I'm just not going to say that. Especially during the whole, the Washington debacle. I was like, I'm just going to say
them.
This.
Team. I know.
Anyways, keep going.
I got my phone was blowing up in a meeting and I was like, okay, who is it? It was my agent. And this is like week 2. And he's like, hey, Steve Keim is trying to call you. They want to pick you up because I was on practice squad. So when you're on a practice squad, you can get picked up by another team to put you on the active roster. New England told me that they're going to bring me active as soon as they can. They don't know when that could be. It could be week 4. It could be week 8. I don't know. So I went in the locker room. I talked to Steve Keim on the phone. David just got hurt. He broke his wrist. So he was on IR. And I said, I just had to make a decision right then and there. I called my agent. I said, obviously the pay difference is big going back home. But it was tough. It was a hard decision because it's hard to leave that. I just won a Super Bowl with them. I was going on year 2. I knew the system. I knew I was confident in the role that I could play there, that I could make a good career there. But it's just a timing thing. When you're undrafted, there's not a lot of money invested in you. There's people that are getting paydays. And we had LeGarrette Blount, James White, Brandon Bolden. We had a lot of running backs there. Yeah, it was deep. So I had to make a business decision again within 30 minutes.
Gosh.
So, and I was on a plane within 24 hours back to Arizona.
Do you go with, all these split decisions? Boom, make a decision. Where are you going to spend, with the trajectory of your career, essentially? Yeah. How do you kind of formulate?
It's wild.
What you do at that point? You just kind of go with the gut or?
Gut, call, dad, mom, agent.
Yeah.
Gather as much opinions as I can of people that I trust. Take 5 minutes because you don't have a lot of time. Like you don't have a lot of time. So just taking 5 minutes of just pros and cons. And then at the end of the day, just having faith. Yeah. Like literally, genuinely just having faith that this is the right choice and this is what it is. And just living with that. Yeah. I mean, there's times where I think back and I try not to let my mind go there. Like, what if I would have stayed? What if, but that's tough. The what ifs. And we all can do that as humans as we get older, especially, what if I did this? But
my therapist says,
preach.
Focus on the what is, not the what ifs.
I love that.
And I did my therapist voice.
I love
she
that.
doesn't talk like that.
Yeah. That's good though.
It was good.
That's good. I like that.
But yeah, because you could play that game with anything, but especially when you're,
especially professional sports.
Split decision.
It's tough. So yeah, I was on a plane within 24 hours back to Arizona. My girlfriend at the time, I said, hey, we had 2 dogs, apartment full of stuff. I said, I have to go. Can you she stayed back 3 months and she was awesome. Had to pack everything up, moving truck, and do all that, and had to get situated here.
Gosh.
But that's like the reality that people don't see. Not everyone's making millions. People are changing their life drastically within seconds, but that's the love of the game.
Yeah, and that's majority.
Majority, exactly. That is
People
very
just
true.
see like the top.
They're the ones in the
3%.
news.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones in the news. They're the ones on ESPN, but they don't see the 30 undrafted guys that are on that team. I mean, I think it's like 65 or 70% of NFL's like roster guys are undrafted free agents. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of guys in different situations for sure.
And you pulled the trifecta. Saguaro High School, ASU.
Yeah, that was cool.
Arizona Cardinals. There's not a lot that
Todd Heap.
Yes. But, and then we look at, and this is going to go back to Arizona Products staying here, and something that you're probably working heavy on with Coach Dillingham and what you guys are trying to do at ASU now. It's like, build. What's the phrase?
Activate the valley.
Activate the valley.
Yeah,
and it's like
that's his thing.
Creating, that want to stay here because this is where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
But absolutely. A lot of Valley greats played for Arizona for a while. It was like Christian Kirk, Byron Murphy.
Shoot, I think at one point I remember looking at the locker room. We had like 7.
I know.
Brett Hundley, Byron Murphy, Christian Kirk, myself.
Brett Hundley, yeah.
Brooks Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Terrell Suggs. I know we had like 6 at one point. Right. Like 6, 7 in the locker room. There's one more. I forgot. I think
it was 7. If I can
recall. It was 7. Who are we missing?
Scooby.
He
was part of that. Yeah,
Scooby, right. But Scooby didn't play. Scooby didn't. He's from California. He didn't play high school football here. There's somebody else. I don't know who it is.
Okay, hang on. I'm racking
Brett,
my
Christian, Byron, myself, Brooks, Terrell Suggs, and Brett Hundley.
Yeah, I guess.
Did I say Brett Hundley already? I did. Yeah.
Nico, let's look that up.
There's 7.
This is like an official sports show when you're like the staff producer. Can you look that up for us, please?
Yeah, but it was wild. It was cool to see though.
My knowledge is not deep enough.
Well, it's so funny because my brain is full of so many like different like stats and things from back then covering. But yeah, I do remember like looking around and being like, damn, like this is
it was really
heavy.
cool to see.
But it's really cool to see that, and whether they played high school here or not, but you being all 3. Yeah. And having that moment. I mean,
it was special. It was special for me.
Yeah. How about your family? What was their reaction?
They were excited. They get to come to games and be a part. Obviously, flying to Boston's a far trip for them. They were excited. I think, me being back home and, having that journey continue, they were excited. They got to come to a bunch of games, and that's important. My family's everything to me. So, like, having them to be able to enjoy those moments and, like, have pictures and, those are stuff that I will remember for forever.
Do you have a man cave of like all your jerseys?
My mom does. Oh, my mom does.
The mom cave?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. She's like a shrine.
A shrine.
Yeah. Like you walk in, you're like, is he still alive? that's how much stuff is up. Like, is he okay?
There's like a trophy of you.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
full statue.
No, she represents.
I love that. That's a mama for you.
She is. Love. She's very protective, and she definitely is proud of me.
So let's talk about that stint between Cardinals. Went to Canada to play, did a little broadcast.
Yeah.
And then now ASU. Yeah. So what mixing pot, melting pot.
Those 2 years were crazy. I think that was another chapter of growth in my life. I think, being a free agent, not having anyone call, like waiting for that call, training, working out. I got to a point where it was like late July, August or whatever it was, getting ready to go to training camp. I always said, like, if I had to go to the CFL, I would only go to Toronto. Like, I would tell friends that because they would ask me, like, would you? I was like, no. Of course, Toronto calls me. They have like 3 days left of training camp. All their running backs are beat up, hurt. And another 24-hour, not even 24-hour, another couple-hour decision. So when you talk about being old, like I feel old. I feel like I'm like 60 in like a 30-year-old body. But it's because I've had to make these adult decisions from 15 years old and periodically throughout my life, So that was another one that I made. I called my mom, same thing, called my dad, and I said, hey, I want to play football. If this is the last time I play football, I want to go out on my terms. I want to go play running back. I want to go score a touchdown, and I want to feel that feeling one more time. And the same thing, I was going through a big depression in my life of like that feeling of football is over. And like they always say, like, prepare for the next chapter. And it's like, you can. And that's why it's nice for me to be in this role now to help these guys transition, because it's not easy. It's extremely hard. You can have 10 job offers lined up, but that moment of realizing those cleats are hung up, that football's done, you can't process that. You can't prepare for that because it hits everyone differently. And also the feeling of being unwanted. Like, that was the first time. I mean, a lot of these guys are the top high school guys. They go play college. You know, you have a chance in the league, but you're still a professional athlete. So, like, it's the first time in my life where I felt that I wasn't good enough and I was unwanted. And I felt like I still had a lot of football to play. So, yeah, I talked to Toronto, and I was on a plane within 24 hours to Canada. Got my passport, all that stuff, went up there and sat in the hotel room for 14 days, cried, was just all these feelings of emotions of like, what am I doing? Is this what I should be doing? You know, because still, like, after COVID, and Canada had their own rules with COVID stuff. So I went up there because 21. Like I said, I had 14 days of quarantine of just learning a new playbook and just I could take 30-minute walks outside my hotel room, and I'll just go walk, have to go back in. My food would be delivered to me outside of my door. I would have to eat inside. So, like, processing all those emotions by myself, like I said, it was a lot, but it was growth. And
sometimes you're isolated just for that reason.
Absolutely. And I think back on it, and that's what it was. God wanted me to have that moment to sit there and process everything, you know, and I ended up having, like, one of my best years of my life. It was so fun living in another country, another city. The group of players I met, the coaches, the style of football was different. All of it. 12 guys. You could run to the line of scrimmage. Like, I'd be in practice. I'd be like, what is happening?
You kind of like rewire.
Oh,
like,
it was crazy.
in so many ways.
3 downs. There's
right.
all these different rules that I had to learn on the go.
What would you implement from the CFL to the NFL?
I do so it's called the halo rule. Okay. So for a punt returner, you can't get within 5 yards. So every punt return is pretty much a guaranteed return.
Yeah.
So you have to stay within 5 yards, stop.
Okay.
He can catch it, and then you play.
I'm like visualizing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did like that. It's exciting. I think, you know, there's so many talented returners, and punters are so good now that they can do all these things. But now it's like, you can boom it. He's going to return the ball. He pretty much has to, you know. So I did like that. Yeah, it was fun. Give it action. Absolutely. I think that's it. That's about it. That's where it stops. 12 guys. Yeah, it was different, but it was fun.
So the 12 guys, is it
an extra receiver and an extra DB?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of skill position out there.
5 wide, 6 wide.
Yeah. Yeah, schematically, it was crazy. And the 3 downs, too, especially being a running back. Like, you run the ball first down, you don't get a lot of yards. It's passing. It's a passing league. Yeah. But it was fun. I loved to live in the city. I rode the subway every day to work. Like, all these things that I never, like, got to experience. Right. Just living in a downtown, like, that was fun. I'm glad I got to check that off my list for sure.
Wow. All these life experiences. Boom.
That's why I feel like I'm 60. That's why I tell people I'm a 60-year-old.
Told you he's an old soul. He has so many stories.
In a 30-year-old's body.
We love it. We love it. So after that, was it a decision of, okay.
Yeah. So I did a year up there, came back.
Another decision.
Well, I didn't plan on making a career really out there. I had some contractual issues, ended up getting out of it, and I became a free agent again. So I was back here training, working out, had a few different agents throughout that process. And which brings me to, I was training, waiting for a call, kind of close to that training camp time period, that June, July, where like that wave. I never wanted to be a guy that wasted time. Like, so I've seen guys, and it's tough because it's an ego and a pride thing. I've seen guys that will train for the NFL for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. They'll say, I'm training. And they'll tell people that, but to your everyday person, that sounds amazing. You're elite, you're training. But it's like, no, you're not. You're just wasting time. You can still train and still get your next chapter ready. Prepared. Start doing internships, start doing all these things. So I always seen guys do that. And it's like, while you're sitting there training for the NFL, which you might get a call, you might not, but there's somebody that's going to school for that job you want. There's somebody that's doing an internship and wanting to do that. And your name as an NFL athlete goes down every year you're not playing. And that's just the reality of it. And that's why I tell a lot of these guys, you know, strike while it's hot. Like, go out there, make these connections, network, do all these things while your name is still relevant. Because the moment you're done, it just slowly goes down. And people will answer, but they're not, the sense of urgency is differently. So when I was still training for the NFL, and like I said, I just got back from Canada, so it wasn't like it was years, but I got a job doing medical sales and broadcasting.
Yeah.
Two things that I was interested. Luckily, one of my best friends owns a distributorship, Forthright Medical, my guy. So I was doing some of that, working for medical sales device, and then I was also doing Your View, which is like the old Friday Night Lights for Cox, and which was a blast to get back into the high school football scene.
What was that like for you? Like, going from, obviously, you see a lot of that transition.
Yeah.
Not always great, seamless transitions.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough.
It is.
I mean, I'm not trying to say like what we do is
you make it look easy.
No,
you do.
But it's you know, the challenge of, you know, you have so much that you can say.
Correct.
And so much information, but just trying to condense it and, you know, 3, 2, 1, you're live and make everything sound eloquent and
absolutely. It was such a great learning lesson, though. I think I found a definitely new respect for what you guys do. And it's the same thing. I think a lot of former athletes, it's either coaching or broadcasting. Right. They think of those two things. Not every former player is going to be a good coach. Not everyone's a teacher. You have to have certain characteristics of a good teacher. So I think it's the same thing with broadcasting. Like, you can have all the information you want, but if you don't know how to deliver it properly to your audience, it doesn't matter what you have in your brain. You have to get it out to a way somebody can listen. Same thing with sales. That's why sales, they love athletes, because you're competitive along those same lines. But at the same time, what makes a good salesman is, how can I sell you how you would interpret? How can I speak your language? Because if I have the product and I can convey it to you, but if it's not how you hear and how you speak, you're not going to want it. So be able to do that over and over again and understanding your audience, I think that's what makes a good salesman. Key. And medical sales taught me that. So I got to learn all these lessons and doing these things. So it was a blessing in the midst of still training, you know. And I think, that was an interesting year of like, am I done? Am I not? And the farther you start doing all these other things for your life, you're like, I'm moving farther away from football. And it just happens naturally. And I think that was a tough realization and a pill to swallow for me too. I was like, dang, and it was great, all these other things were happening to me in my life, but then I was going away from the thing that I love and the thing that I knew. And that was a tough realization as well for me.
I hear that so much though, just like that realization, that coming to that moment, and you don't know when that is, of okay, I'm ready to move on in this new season of life. For sure. Which still brings you around football, and you're with ASU. So you got the call from Dillingham. You're like, all right,
Shoot, I hit him up.
You hit him? I hit him up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was in the middle of the medical sales and broadcasting, and I was still doing that, still planning stuff in that area. And I was like, okay, I saw this job open up at ASU. You know, I saw that Herm transition. Yeah. It's like, okay, who's going to get it? I started hearing Kenny's name. And for those who don't know, Kenny was a GA when I played at ASU. So I've known Kenny for a while, you know, Chaparral High School. He's a Scottsdale kid. And I saw him take the job. And right then and there, I said, okay, I'm in this weird transition. I love what I have going on now, but I had this like something in my soul wanted to get back in football. I was like, I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know if I was going to go coach at high school. I know Saguaro was going through stuff. It's like, do I want to go the high school route? Do I want to go the NFL route or college? So I hit him up. I said, hey, coach, first of all, congratulations. Right. I said, I want to get back into football. I have no clue what this looks like, you know. And he said, I would love for you to be a part of it. He said, take 2 weeks. You have to make a decision whether you want a GA, which is coaching, or I have a role for you that's a player development role, more the operations side. Ask yourself what you want to do, because if you want to coach, you have to go the GA route. That's just kind of the tree of how you have to go. And that's a hustle. You're breaking down film till 10 at night. You're doing that life. But, you know, so I took 2 weeks, and that was tough. And I said, I had to be honest with myself. I was always smart enough to learn football schematically and understand the game, but I never was in love with the X's and O's. Yeah. I love relationships. I love people. So I think I answered that for myself. I said, I'll take the player development role. and I'm about 4 months in.
Yeah. And I mean, I already feel that you have such an impact on these guys coming in, and
Hope so.
you know the influence that you have, and Dillingham is so smart to bring you in as a local guy, someone that they likely know. You know, I know you feel like you old, but you're not.
I do some days. Yeah.
But you know, what's it like just being back in the building for you? It brings back, I'm sure, a lot of memories.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's awesome. It's really cool. I mean, college football has definitely changed a little bit with, you know, transfer portal, NIL, and the makeup of it. I mean, you don't have the days of having a guy for 4 years is kind of going away. You're lucky to have a guy for a year, you know, maybe. So understanding the sense of urgency, how important, like your time is here, and to capitalize on this experience. But it's awesome. I get to help with in-state recruiting, local guys coming on campus and stuff.
That's why you have 2 phones.
Absolutely, exactly. But I can't. It sucks. I can't go out because I'm a non-coaching staff. This is compliance-wise, so compliance officer, if you're listening. Beep. But yeah, when guys come on campus, I get to have conversations with them and their parents, let them know my journey with ASU, stuff that, you know, has helped me, of staying home, some of the positives. But I also am real with them. Like, staying home's not for everybody. And I always keep it honest with them. I said, look, at the end of the day, we're not going to be able to keep every single top recruit in Arizona. You're going to lose some. But there is something special about representing for your home state. There is something special about representing in front of your family. And there is something special about, if you love this state, which I do, and I knew I did, I knew that this would be my home when I was coming out of high school. And I said, why would I not try to make as many connections as I can and use my likeness? And this is before NIL, but like, use me as a walking business to start making those connections and play home, because of where I want to live and raise my family and, you know, grow old. And now I'm on the other side of that, and I get to show, like, I went into broadcasting, I went into medical sales. I had options. That's my point to them. Sometimes when you go across the country and then you come back here to live, you know, you don't get to make those connections. So the luxury of having that has definitely helped me, I think.
Yeah. You have to rebuild in a sense.
For sure.
Your smart moves. So many smart moves you've made.
Or, you know,
and split decisions and all the things.
it's definitely on the fly. I definitely have been lucky. Having faith, though, I think has helped me a lot, of those moments where, like, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I trust in God. I trust in my family. I trust in, you know, I'll be where I need to be. Yeah. And, like, that is some of the hardest things. You know, as a man, we want to have our control of everything. We want to be able to help provide. But to sit in the space of unknown, it's extremely difficult for humans in general, man or woman. But especially, and it's tough. Yeah. It is tough, but that faith definitely helps.
What a journey. Yeah. And we're just so happy you're back here.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
We're excited for this upcoming Sun Devil season here.
Me too.
Pitchfork.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited what Coach Dillingham's doing. Yeah. It's different. It's not just me saying that because he's my boss, right. Which he is, but, you know, as someone
we have background and depth with him.
Absolutely. As someone that loves that university as well as yourself, seeing his attention to detail, I think he's going about it the right way. I mean, he doesn't even mention wins or losses. It's about bringing the community back, making people believe in wanting to be a part of this. It's not just ASU, the coaches and the players. It's about a community. Yeah. And that's what Activate the Valley is essentially. That's what he's talking about, like coming back, being involved, because I think, you know, he's bringing a culture and a tradition that I think, you know, will last a long time. Yeah. And I think I can see the excitement on the players. And I tell them this all the time. We have a lot of new faces in that building with the transfer portal and stuff, but I see these guys buying into the program. And I told them, I said, that's probably one of the most dangerous things. A group of young men that believe in each other and believe in a team and going to battle for each other. Like, don't worry about what the predictions are. Like, you guys are where you need to be. And it's just so fun to watch them, like, come together as a team right now, especially in a weird stage of college football.
It is. I mean, you're talking about the transfer portal. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're just so glad to have some of your time because I know you're busy, Mr. Two Phones, and running around, but spring ball's over. So what's next?
Getting ready for summer, getting ready for this big group of freshmen we have coming in. A lot of this, that's the stuff that I do, helping the transition from high school to college, housing, conduct, player programming, all those fun stuff. Things. Yeah. So all these 18, 17-year-olds coming in and getting them right mentally for this next chapter of their life. Which should be a good one.
Perfect fit. You truly are.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Anytime.
I
love
that State 48.
Oh yeah, always representing. I love what you guys are doing.
I'm sure. Thank you. We're having fun here, and I'm sure I'll see you at a Suns game.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
And make sure you subscribe to our podcast.
No doubt.
Plug. And you're following us and all the things already. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right.
If I'm not, I'll make sure it happens at the end of this.
Force you into it. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.